word to the world. Subscribe now to the Hot 97 YouTube channel. It's Ebro in the Morning with Laura Stiles and Rosenberg.
Ladies and gentlemen, this is Miguel on with Ebro, Laura, and Rosenberg. I'm going to put an official beginning on this conversation because we was off the air just, chatting it up with our bro Miguel, whom we've known since forever. I mean, we've been interviewing you since forever, bro. This has been a minute.
It's been a minute, yeah.
I mean, we even drink 40s and orange juice together in the studio. Like me and Miguel, we go back, man.
We did 40s and OJ. We did, man. We played. I played a couple games of Bones with you guys. A couple games.
Dominoes. Yo, me and Miguel was wasted at Coachella one year in a what was that? It was like they built a kitchen inside a trailer, and it was like a tequila company, and we were sitting in there taking tequila shots.
Oh wow, yeah, that was Electric Carnival afterwards.
Yeah, that's what it was.
Oh my goodness,
I was wasted, son.
That was a night. Oh man, and we had just arrived too. You might have been there, like on the grounds for some time.
No, I just had got in. I went to go get a tequila, and I saw you and your woman in there getting.
Like, let's go.
I was like, yo, my people here, let's go.
I remember that vividly. I have photos at that moment. We had just walked into the grounds, and yeah, that set off a night of events. Oh, yeah. Wow.
Yeah, it was a good time.
I remember it was a good night. That was a good night.
How's the quarantine the last year been for you, Miguel?
Shitty. I mean, I don't think anyone else is like, yeah, it was. I mean, I'll say this. It was great for the space it did provide, but, I think everyone is happy that things will at least we'll be able to move with some more peace of mind. Right. There's a lot of people out there, and for the people who are listening, just sending out love, because a lot of people are dealing with the pressure of it, and people have lost loved ones. It's a real serious thing. So I'm grateful for the things that it showed us. It showed me a lot, really helped me reprioritize, but I'm excited that we'll have a little more peace of mind.
Did you lock in? Were you one of those people who locked in and worked on a lot of new music, or because I know some people who just completely took it, like they became couch potatoes, and unfortunately gave a lot of people anxiety and stuff like that. It got crazy for a lot of people, but I know some artists, it gave them that time to lock in and focus on their craft.
Man, I felt so. It was so that some days I wake up and I'm just super creative, and other days I just couldn't be motivated, and it felt like that for a long time. There was no balance, because you're sort of I think just however I was processing. I mean, we did. If you think about it, it was like Kobe. Then it was like New Year's, 2021, and then Kobe passed, and then Kobe hit, and then Floyd, George Floyd, and then it was like all of the social.
Breonna Taylor, all of that.
Breonna Taylor, and then it just didn't stop, and it just really was a lot. It was a very manic year in that way for my creativity, especially, because I think as an artist, I've always wanted to go, okay, take a snapshot of where I'm at. And that's what Art Dealer Sheet was always about. And I just couldn't really get a grasp. It was hard to get a grasp of where I was at, because I was just processing, what the reality actually meant. So again, in retrospect, thinking about it, it's like I just tried to do my best and just go with the flow, and it actually worked out in retrospect. I'm happy, I'm pleased with how I was able to manage that. A great support system, my wife and then family as well. So are you guys good? How you guys doing, man? It's been a long time.
Yeah, man. We get I call it's a luxury to talk to listeners and connect with people, even though we're not outside, we're broadcasting from home. Mm-hmm. There's still that, human connection. We get to see each other. These are people that, Rosenberg and Laura and Shawnee, the whole crew, we've been working with each other every day since, 2013, 2014?
Mm-hmm.
So we still get to see each other. We get to talk ish. We get to, it's not all serious about COVID all the time or all the bad stuff. So we get to talk about some of the good stuff, So
Right.
yeah, for that matter, it's been good. It's actually for me, it's created this false sense of like, and the reason I say false is because I've caught myself being like, I can stay in the house till 2023. I don't need to go outside. I'm having a good time. But I don't think that's really the case. I think I'm having a good time despite the craziness or relative to the craziness.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Because also, like my brother almost died from COVID. He had it bad. He's on the other side now, luckily, but it was definitely touch and go for multiple days. And he was in the hospital for 3 months?
At least.
So so that's an emotional burden. And then the callers and just what was going on in New York City last March and April, where hundreds of people were dying a day?
Up to 1,000 a day in New York, I think.
Yeah.
And so we were like, you had refrigerator morgues outside of hospitals, you know what I mean, full of dead bodies. And we're taking calls from people who, come from East New York and already live in, low-income areas who are the essential workers. So not only do they live in neighborhoods that are full of trauma and, chaos, but now they're on the front lines as essential workers having to take care of other issues. And, so you're trying to help them cope and you're trying to help yourself cope. And I think in some ways it made us stronger, though.
Right. Yeah.
Those
At
of
least,
us,
mentally, it's a trip, man. I'm glad your brother's okay too, man.
Thank you, man.
And big shout out to the essential workers out there. Since we're talking about it, the people who just been out there. I mean, the ones delivering food. I promise those are the heroes. They need heroes.
Facts.
Food delivering people. Thank you so much. Anyone delivering things, packages, all that. Oh my goodness. And then of course the doctors and the workers.
And not to mention, and then of course, Ebro, there's the resentment that I have towards, people like Miguel.
What do you mean?
I mean, anyone I'm friends with who lives in a nice house in Los Angeles. Because as bad as it may have been, I was recently divorced in an apartment in Manhattan. And when this thing started, I was like, I'm alone. I can't go outside. Now, granted, I know I'm still privileged and I had money and I was okay. But that still doesn't make you feel better when it was scary to leave the house because when you live in an apartment building, every time you take out the trash, we didn't know how bad this all was. So every surface you touched. And then I'd see my friends on Instagram in LA. They're like, yo, this lockdown is real. And they'd be sitting by their pool in their backyard. I was like, lockdown? This looks amazing.
Sitting in their big yard with pools.
Animals running free. Barbecue pit.
I feel like, is Manhattan I just feel like it's like.
Yeah.
It's not as much anymore. It
No.
was, though. It was.
It was at one point, but it's definitely not. Listen, New Yorkers are resilient, and everything is coming back slowly but surely.
But, man, at first, though, you saw some tumbleweeds at first, Miguel. There were some nights when you would go outside and go to Times Square was a ghost town.
Yeah.
Broadway up here on the 70s was a ghost town. So it was very weird. But, yeah, no, we're bouncing back, man. You'll be here in no time.
Yeah. I look forward to it. Get more of the energy, man. I think a lot of people are missing that movement. Just the energy is just
People need it. Now have you the last project you actually put out was 2017, I believe?
Yes.
So even prior to COVID, you had kind of, went and got married, focused on your personal life.
Yes,
Is that why we're just now, kind of, seeing you reemerge and start to release material?
Yeah, absolutely. Man, and here's the thing is like, and allow me to stutter and sort of like, because this coffee is just kicking in. So everyone listening, thank you for standing by and sticking with it. Yeah, you like priorities, man. Life is like such a big thing about priorities, and Art Dealer Chic as a mentality the reason why I'm revisiting this is because these past 3 years have been very much about what are my priorities. After putting out that album, again, I got married. Then all my grandparents kind of transitioned, or my grandparents that were left transitioned. And believe it or not, it was like my very first like direct dealing with death. So sort of processing that in the midst of sort of I got a new flow. It was a lot. And I just realized that the game was changing as well in terms of the industry and what was happening for music in the past. I mean, it changes every few months now. I would say like 8-9 months, there's a shift in music. That's been a trend, but it has moved faster and faster. So in 2017, it was definitely shifting, and shifting more. And I was just trying to figure out where my heart was at with music. And I was losing the excitement, not just because of trying to understand how I would interface in my process with how fast people were consuming music, but also, you got to think like just business alone, supply and demand, and because there's such a innumerable supply for music and how easy it is to make it, the chances of making music that people see and hear is just much more challenging. So it'd be motive to be evaded when you think that, when you have that against you, one. And then my priorities are changing. So just trying to really hone in on what my next 10 years was going to be was what it took, and the past 3 years, it had me really evaluating sort of my priorities, the way that I think, what's important. Art Dealer Chic kind of came back. And because the mentality is about curation and curating your choices, curating what you feel is valuable, the thoughts, emotions, and actions that are going to bring the most return, I just went back to that and just started honing in on what that would be for my next 10 years. And it took some time, but it allowed me the space to really just be clear about my next moves. And I'm really happy that we're here because it's sort of the beginning of a long marathon. So yeah, I'm excited. I'm very, very excited.
Now, your catalog also now, when you look back over the last 11 years, you were really leaning into touring before COVID, or before you took a break in 2017, but the touring thing was really, you love being on that stage with your guitar and your band and, abs gleaming, you know what I'm saying, oiled up nice, you know what I'm saying, with your leather pants on, doing your thing. Are you getting back to the shows? You getting back to the shows?
He was like, he had the soul glow.
Yeah. The fur coat on, no shirt, yes. Yeah. Man, I miss touring. My intentions for the next 10 years are absolutely, they do include being on stage. I think that's the most, I mean, no pun intended, with the soul glow, I do tend to shine on stage.
That's fact. Let your soul glow.
With the soul glow. Kind of right. No.
Yeah.
But I do love being on stage, as you know, man. And I can't wait to get back out there. I think a lot of people miss live music, and when we get there, it's gonna feel really good. But and for artists listening, let me say this: if you are not an entrepreneur and you love music and you think that music is what you want to do and put first and foremost as your endeavor, understand that someone on your team needs to be an entrepreneur if it's not going to be you. So first and foremost, understand that if you're going to do music as a business, you need someone who's business minded. And unless you're going to take the time and learn how the business works, understand how certain revenues and budgets work together, unless you're going to do that, you're setting yourself up for failure. And I'm glad I didn't do that. I think when I came in, it was such a different game. But, I was behind on the curve, admittedly behind on the curve in terms of taking a real interest in the business of and how the business is evolved at a certain time. And I'm really happy that I caught it where I did. But now for anyone starting, like for real, if you're not going to be an entrepreneur about this, you need to have someone on your team who's thinking way, way ahead. So,
and you're saying that just for like their ability to sustain themselves, right? You're saying that just for like the ability to monetize, right? Because the business has changed so much.
Yeah, and it's a trip because I didn't preface it with, and I've been so blessed. I've been blessed because I've, for whatever reason, been able to channel music that has lasted the test of time, you know, and I'm grateful for that. And I have a fan base who love me beyond space and time and love my music beyond space and time, and that's a blessing. That's why we can redrop Art Dealer Sheet 1 through 3, and people are like, wow, like this sounds like it's new. People think it's new music, and we did this years ago. Yeah. You know, this is old music. So that's a blessing, but the reality is that people are consuming music so fast, you don't have to pay for music anymore. So that's not where any artist is making their bread, you know? At least, especially if you're not writing and producing. And again, that's another blessing. I write and produce my music, so I'm seeing checks on publishing, you know? My money is coming along, and it will continue to make money. But if you're not understanding how this works, like, and you think that music is a place you want to go, please understand, like, this is a business. Understand that you gotta you're gonna need someone with a business mind to understand how to make it, like you said, sustainable and to live and to, you know, to really get your dreams off and to take care of your family and so on and so forth. So there's a lot of things that I'm rolling out, not just music, but that also speak to the things that I'm interested in and that I love and that I've always loved, but I just never put my hands into. So I'm excited to express myself creatively in those ways, as well as do it with music. I think my fans will have a lot more fun and understanding sort of what's inspiring me and sort of the world that my ideas kind of live in and flourish.
Miguelito.
Yes,
that
sir.
movie Coco. I remember one of the last times we talked, it was about that movie Coco.
That's right.
That
That's
joint
right.
still. Every now and then, me and my daughter and the family, my lady, me and my daughter, we sit down, we watch Coco. Tear up a little bit. Yo, that movie's incredible, bro.
Man, they really did. I mean, you got to give it to them. They know how to make those films. And it was such an honor to jump on. Like, we grew up with Disney, you know, and Disney films and all of those characters. So the fact that they included me, you know, to produce that song for the soundtrack was just, it's really, really dope. You know, you get
they named the and then, you know, you and the character got the same name. It also allowed you to embrace your Mexican heritage too.
Yeah, it was awesome. And I think a lot of like going back to Zamora, going back to Michoacan, where my family's from, and connecting with my family there. And all of this is like documented, which is dope. So if anyone hasn't ever been to Mexico and wants to see some of the most beautiful and just kind of get a sense of like the landscape, you can just find it on the internet. It's a Vice documentary that I did. Just type in Miguel Vice documentary, whatever. I went there with my father and my brother, and it was beautiful. We went and saw the Monarch Butterfly Reservation, and we went to this dormant volcano, and we got to Pyramid of the Sun just outside of DF, which is the capital of Mexico City. I'm sorry, the capital of Mexico City, and just some beautiful stuff. But there's also some awesome human moments in there. So if you haven't seen that, it's a really dope way to kind of familiarize yourself with sort of the different things that Mexico has to offer in terms of terrain and just the spirit and the food and all that good stuff. So all of that was sort of happening, and then they were working on this film, and it just clicked, man. And it was just it was my life, you know, a moment in my where I got to just to kind of, not that I wasn't already feeling very much like taking ownership and pride in my heritage, because I was, but I don't know, it just made it it was a deeper connection with it
Absolutely.
after that.
That's amazing.
And it was just really dope. So, you
Yo,
know,
Laura Styles loves Mexico
I
City.
do.
That's one of her favorite places.
I think just Mexico as a whole, like it's so complex. I always tell people, I was like, every area is completely different. Every part of Mexico has so much to offer, like completely different food from the next, and it's just beautiful. Mexico is beautiful.
people are beautiful. And is like you said, the diversity in terms of the food, the landscape. It's got everything. It's got, and you know, I think we have sort of a very flat image. You know, it's
Absolutely.
like one-dimensional perception of what Mexico and Mexicans.
Oh, did you say a fat? Did you say a fat image? Were you referring to DJ Juanito?
He doesn't know Juanito.
Oh, okay. I just thought this was
Leave Juanito, our favorite Mexican, out of this, man.
Sorry.
No, but it's true, Miguel, because when I came back, I was just there like, I want to say 2 years ago. I was in Mexico City, or last year, and I was telling my friends how there's this beautiful community of like Lebanese Mexicanos and Japanese Mexicanos and all these chefs that go down there to study, because Mexican food is so complex, and they're there to learn and explore, and it's just it's amazing. I can't wait to go back.
Laura, I want to say I think it's cute that you include the other things besides the food. I think it's nice that you do that, because I know what you're thinking about.
What?
The food.
The food is absolutely amazing. Yes.
and the food.
And the food.
But the arts, though, like, it's a trip. Like,
Yo, Mexico City with the art is, I mean, incredible.
Next level. Like, you have to go see Frida Kahlo's house. You have to go visit Diego Rivera's studio. You have to. Yep. You have to go see all that.
Yeah, so it's dope, man. All of that really, really made me feel a much deeper connection. Because I did, through my family, they always made me, you know, they always reminded me that I am Mexican and that I should be proud of that. And it was just a deeper sort of feeling. I got around family, and it's like I didn't know them, but I connected immediately. It felt like I knew them forever, and that just, the fact that they made me feel so at home, and that feeling just really brought it home. So yeah, the Coco opportunity and being a part of that was just, it's dope. It's dope that there's kids out there who, you know, this is how they're learning about, and people. If we would have had movies like Coco and like Soul.
Yo, Soul is crazy too, man.
It's amazing. Oh.
Man, how dope is that? To have
there's so many layers, right? The comprehension of life and death, but also the music and finding your true love, and not a relationship love like some of the older Disney movies, but like a true, like in both Coco and Soul, it's about understanding your purpose in life is making a real connection to something that fulfills you. Not just a relationship, but that's a part of it, but also the expression part, right? Because in Coco, young Miguel is trying to play music, and his family don't want him to play music because of their own fears, right? And in Soul, same thing. You know, you have this jazz teacher who is trying to live his dream, gets his dream, but then gets deterred by, you know, by death, really, and has to figure out a way, gets a second chance at life, and, you know, is able to live his dream, et cetera, et cetera. So both great stories, but great point, Miguel. Yeah. That to sit and watch that with my 6-year-old, who may not get all of the underlying themes, but planting those seeds with youth and having those films is incredible.
I felt good about that, because it's like, man, next generations and Pete, like, you guys will be able to go back and watch that as your children get older, you know, and it'll take on new meaning. And I love that. And I sort of, again, back to Art Dealer Chic, it's the same ethos, you know, the same mental ethos. Like, man, we all on this call, like, we come from a place of, most of us coming from a place of survival. How you know, our communities, our upbringing, you know, and just the disposition, the general disposition, is we're trying to figure out how we're gonna make it. You know, that's why it's like, go to school, get a job, get married, you know what I mean? It's like, it's to survive. And I think as we start to, when you get to a place where you put your time and energy behind an idea, and you start to really make choices that have something to do with fulfilling your passion you then put yourself in a place of, okay, now you don't have to do this for survival. It's like, what is fulfilling? And it's a beautiful experience, but it's a continuous experience. And the more that we do it, the more that you got to just you really get to understand that you get to pass that on to someone else. And that's why revisiting Art Dealer Chic was super important. Important was because I realized after last year how many people are still dealing. I still deal with these moments where I'm faced with is this a survival decision or is this a fulfilling decision? You know, am I going to choose something that makes me feel like I'm going to be proud of this in the next 10 years or 5, I can be proud about this? Or is this just something that's the here and now and it fulfills some sort of survival thing? And the more I found, the more that I could choose things that always were fulfilling, I was happier. I just been happier, and I want to give that to my fans, and that's what it's all about, man. We all worked hard to get here, man. That's what it takes, you know.
Yo, originally dropped in 2012, I believe. Art Dealer Chic. Let's play something off that, man, and remind people if they missed it, and you could get it right now on Apple Music if you want to go that route.
Yes.
Party Life, Ooh Ah, Candles in the Sun.
And then don't forget.
Candles always. We should play Candles for sure, but Ooh Ah we can play just because I like to remind people.
Yeah, and don't forget, Art Dealer Chic 4 is dropping April 9th.
Okay.
Yeah.
Now, Art Dealer Chic 4 came out before also as older music?
No,
that's new material.
New.
This is new material. Yeah. Unreleased new material. And it's not gonna stop. Ebro, I'm
How many songs you sitting on right now?
I mean,
Songs you want to put out. Songs you want to put out. How many?
I'm thinking in terms of projects. Like I'm like songs. Like we could drop songs. Like people have been doing piecemeal songs for so long. That's what it took. Is like, man, I wish I could explain this at 6:33 right now. I'm really
don't worry about it. Yo, you're gonna come back on the show. You're gonna come back when the new shit drops. It's good.
My next 10 years is a marathon, and Art Dealer Chic is a part of a larger narrative that I feel is important to be able to give to my fans and just remind people that they have the control to curate their life and to really like flourish, man. Like that's the best I could give, and that's all it's been about at this point. Is like, how can I be of service? Okay, if music is my gift, I'll continue to give music for, like, as much as I can, centered around this theme that anyone in this time and space has the ability to flourish, to be great, to see whatever they believe in their life is what they're here to do. You're able to do that. I promise you. You know, it's challenges, but it really comes down to the daily decisions. How are you going to curate those decisions? Are they going to be based in survival? Or is it going to be based in fulfillment? And the more we can lean into that, the more you can really realize like all the things that you're dreaming. So, man, I get passionate about, but that's 10 years. I got projects. I'm not
projects. So we're going to hear a lot from Miguel this year and next, and for the next 10 years. It's good to see you, sir.
Good to see you, Miguel.
Great seeing you, man.
Salud.
Stay blessed. Keep delivering us these projects, and we'll talk to you soon.
I look forward to it, my guys. And Laura, good to see you. I didn't say it. I'm just catching up. But
it's okay.
Thank
good to see you too, of course.
For sure,
right.
man.
Yeah.
Miguel, love, bro. Peace.
Take care.